Hi everybody, immigration attorney Ann Sedke here with some immigration updates. A lot going on in immigration world, so I just wanted to speak with you guys today and let you know what's been going on. I'm just going to give a few minutes for people to come into the live group. Hope everybody's doing well. Thank you to those who are joining us live today. And I did post on Facebook for all my Arabic speaking clients and followers that I'll do an Arabic video probably in the next few days or maybe sometime next week. So stay tuned for that. Today will be in English. And as much as I will try to answer some of the questions that are coming in, this is going to be more of just like an information session. I'm just going to let everybody know what's been happening recently with immigration. If you have any specific questions, I would ask that you email my office or give us a call at the number on the Facebook page. Facebook messages, some people send me Facebook messages with their cases. It's very hard for me to get to those, so the best thing to do is just contact my office directly via email. Okay, thank you to everybody who is tuning in, and I'm getting hearts and flowers and all this nice stuff, so thank you very much. I appreciate that. Okay, so I think we have a lot of people already in, so I think I will start. And how I decided to break this up today is there's just so much going on, and I wanted to keep it organized and keep it really like clear on which topics we're talking about. So I'm gonna kind of break it down by agency. I'm gonna talk about what's happening with U.S. Citizen and Immigration Services here first. Then I'll move over to the U.S. embassies around the world, and then we'll talk about the two immigration bills that were proposed, that passed the House and now is going to be reviewed by the Senate. And if passed, I'll let you know how that's going to affect people here. So there is a lot going on. I'm sure people have been following with what's been going on at the southern border. It's a crisis going on over there. Lots of people coming in. So they have been kind of putting a lot of focus on people coming in at the border, people who are claiming asylum at the border, and assisting those people and knowing how to control the migration into the U.S. So there has been a lot of focus, and I will say that I did a video at the beginning of the year. And there was a lot of talk about what kind of immigration changes the new administration would bring in. However, we haven't seen as much as was spoken about. Like we were, as attorneys, we were hoping that there would be a lot more movement and a lot more, new immigration laws and proposals given. But so far, we haven't seen too much because I think they've been just so focused with the southern border. But there has been some things that were changed from the previous administration. So those are things I'll go over today, and what things that we are expecting to see in the months to come. Okay, so let me start. And by the way, I am basing most of the topics I'm speaking about today are based on previous questions that were sent to my Facebook page and my inbox. So I am going off of those and which are the most commonly asked questions. So hopefully I'll be answering a lot of your questions today and a lot of the concerns that you've been having. So I will try to cover as much as I can in the time that we have today. Okay. And as always, I'll always, follow up with other videos, in the next few weeks. Okay. So let's start with the USCIS. Let's talk about that first. So that's, people who are filing applications and petitions with USCIS here. have noticed that there has been a lot of delay, you know, COVID related. Some people have not been getting their receipts, and this is a very, very common problem that has been happening lately. People who are filing for work permits, work permit renewals, people who are applying for asylum, people who are doing marriage petitions. They're not seeing that they're getting their receipts as quickly as usual, which is usually, you know, 10 to 15 days after filing. This is very common. It's not, there's nothing wrong with your case. Just make sure that if you are sending it with a check, just see if even the checks are being cashed a little late. But that's a good way to kind of track to see that the applications were received by USCIS. But they are delaying with receipts. We've been seeing receipt notices, you know, coming like 2 months after we have filed. Okay, so this has been a problem with USCIS. Nothing to worry about, but always good to follow up just to make sure that it's there. It's at the facilities. Okay, so public charge rule. This was in high debate in 2020. Lots of lawsuits that were going on about the public charge rule. I did mention before in my last video, the public charge rule now is gone. So we are not worrying now about the I-944 public charge rule, not here or at the U.S. Embassy. Okay. And in case anybody doesn't know, quickly, I'll just explain the public charge rule was brought to for people who were taking certain benefits when they were here in non-immigrant status. It was coming back to haunt them when they went to go apply for family-based green cards. So they were actually checking to see if anybody was taking benefits and then, you know, stopping people from getting green cards. But that's gone. Don't need to talk about it. So no public charge rule anymore. Okay. Naturalization for people who are filing for citizenship. In late 2020, there was a new exam that came out that was much longer, asked more questions. That's also gone. We are now back to the same old naturalization exam. So even if you filed your naturalization citizenship application after December 2020, you will still be taking the old 2008 exam. So nobody needs to worry about a new exam. Good morning to everybody who is coming in. And thank you again for all of the nice comments. I'm reading them as I'm talking, so thank you. TPS, temporary protected status. This was also a huge thing that happened at the beginning of the year. A lot of talk actually about TPS, and I will discuss some new changes regarding TPS holders a little bit later. But as of right now, TPS holders, Syrian TPS holders, they did do an extension. So people who have been holding TPS status are now eligible to extend, since the program has been extended for another 18 months. So that was good. We also have Venezuela was added to the TPS list of countries. So if anybody is a Venezuelan who is in the country out of status, you are eligible to apply if you've been present in the United States as of March 1st, 2021. Okay, so that's another really very good news. Oh, there's just so much going on with USCIS. I mean, there has been a lot of back and forth, changes in the forms, you know, they're just trying to change the system. With every new administration, there's always a lot of changes that come. So we're trying to keep on top of all the new changes, and then I can deliver that new news to you guys. So just be careful whenever you're filing different forms. Number one, I would always suggest that you know, contact an attorney, discuss your case with them before you go ahead and file, because unfortunately, and I'm still seeing that now, is that people are filing, wasting a lot of money, cases being rejected, or they're not eligible for whatever application that they are applying for. So you really want to make sure that you're eligible. There's no issues as far as criminal history, previous marriages, things of that sort that do come, you know, to haunt. Now, one of the things that I would say about people applying for citizenship and what I have been seeing lately, when I have been attending these citizenship interviews is that, and this has been going on for a while, but now, it's not like before. Now they are, when you sit down for your citizenship, it's not, okay, take an exam, answer some questions and leave. They are really going back all the way back to your visa interview at the U.S. Embassy in your home country. They're going back and they're looking at every application you have filed since you came into the United States. If it's asylum based, they're looking at the asylum case. They're wanting to see, what was the basis, who prepared it. And those things are coming up now at citizenship interviews. So very, very important that don't take things lightly and don't think that they don't have access to all these, applications that were filed and the answers that you provided at that time. If it's not clarified previous to going to an interview, it could be extremely problematic, okay? Because then they can accuse you of misrepresentation or giving false information, okay? And that could be very, very detrimental, and you might find yourself in actual removal or deportation proceedings. So preparation and being thorough in all the applications when you're filling them out is extremely important in immigration, especially in today's world. All right, I'm going to move on to, that's what I have so far for USCIS, but there is plenty to talk about, but I'll come back to it later. Let's move on to the Department of State, U.S. Embassies. I have gotten many, many, many questions about when the embassies are going to open. All right. There is a lot of conflicting information because as far as the Department of State is concerned, they have said that the embassies are open. However, they are not doing in-person interviews at this point. Okay, and I'm talking about, these are the embassies that I've dealt with, and I've dealt with European, Middle Eastern embassies, so they're all pretty much in the same boat. They are not doing in-person interviews yet because there's still a high risk of COVID. So they cannot be bringing these mass amount of people into the embassies. It's a risk for everybody. So the people who are asking me about interviews, about their husbands, wives, children, parents, siblings, when are they going to get interviewed? When are they coming? Not me or any other attorney can answer that question yet because that information has not been provided to us by the Department of State. You may hear some people getting interviews, and those are specifically, they are humanitarian based or national interest based requests that are made to the embassies to have particular people have to come here for exceptional circumstances. Okay, they could, and there are many different factors for humanitarian requests, but it's on a case-by-case basis. Not all of them are accepted, and they have to be really extreme. So those people are being given interviews at the embassies and able to get their visas. So if you think that you might have an emergency situation or a humanitarian reason why a certain person should come to the United States faster, or should be given an interview faster, then that's something you might want to call my office for, and then I can, kind of run through different criteria for that request. Okay. Okay. So as I said in my last video, so as far as the embassies are concerned, we have to still wait, be patient. It should be opening up soon, and hopefully I'm predicting by the summer that we're going to start seeing that in-person interviews are going to be happening. So if you're applying for a visitor visa or any kind of non-immigrant visa coming, like a student visa, you could apply for them, but you're not going to get your interview that quickly as it was before. Okay, let's move on to the proclamations, presidential proclamations that were put in place. I did mention in my previous video that those were lifted. So the travel ban that was against Syria, Iran, Yemen, Libya, those countries, the ban has been lifted, meaning it's been removed. So those nationals of those countries can now come to the United States. So if they have family members in the US that want to apply for them, they are able now to come. Again, given when the embassies will open for in-person interviews, but you can apply for them now. They will not be subject to any presidential proclamations because those have been lifted or taken away. So that was great news also at the beginning of the year. That was one of the first things that the new administration did. So that was good. For 2020 diversity visa lottery winners, and I know I got a lot of questions about this. What's going to happen? You know, those are going to be given special consideration because there was a deadline in 2020. But since a lot of these, travel bans have been lifted, they're giving consideration to those diversity visa lottery winners. I don't know specifically how they're going to be treated because that information has not been given. So I can't speak on things that I don't know, how they're going to be treated. So if you're asking me about, my family member one, but when are they coming? I'm not sure yet. And that's in all honesty. Okay. We are seeing more movement as far as paperwork getting done at the National Visa Center, files going to the embassies, but not too much correspondence or too many emails being sent from the actual embassy where they're going to have their interview. Because again, they can't tell us when that individual is going to be interviewed. However, my office has been seeing that the National Visa Center is responding rather quickly, especially on cases dealing with spouses and children of U.S. citizens or green card holders. So things are moving pretty rapidly. So my assumption is that these cases are going to the embassies. It's just we're not going to hear from the embassy directly until they're ready to start scheduling. But that's all very, very good news. Now, a quick note about the National Visa Center. I know a lot of people run into problems with uploading, getting into the system, corresponding with them. And I know it's been very, difficult, getting those kind of responses from them. But they are also very overwhelmed with a lot of cases. So there are ways to make sure that your cases are running properly. If you're having problems with the website, this is very common with them. It will just shut down, or they will, their whole website will just shut down. So they have to just log in again and try to upload your documents then. But you can lose a lot of information in the process, which is very frustrating. I know, I've experienced it many times. But be patient with the process. And if you need help with the National Visa Center, I know it's very, information heavy, so you can always call my office and I can assist with that. K visas. I got a lot of questions about the Fiance Visa, or what they call the K1 visa. Those were also kind of in this strange limbo, and there was a lot of suspension. Those are actually, that process is going to go forward. They are going to be moving along, except for, this is still in place, China, Iran, UK, Ireland, Brazil, and South America. Those countries are still, the K visa is going to be suspended temporarily until things kind of resume back to normal. Okay? And people are telling me, no English, do some Arabic. I'm sorry, I will do this video in Arabic. I promise. But this is for all my clients, and just some information so everybody can be aware of what's been happening. Okay, another big topic, and calls that I've been getting a lot. Green card holders who traveled to their home country prior to COVID and then got stuck. All right. I know that, and you should know, as green card holders, your stay outside of the United States should not exceed more than 6 months. Okay, so if you're traveling, you're not allowed to stay outside of the US for more than 6 months at a time. Obviously, with COVID, some people actually got, they really got stuck. They couldn't, number one, there was no flights coming back. Borders were shut. And then there, aside from the health risk involved in, even if there were planes, the health risk of getting onto a plane and coming back to the United States. So until now, that health risk does still exist, especially for older individuals, or people that have other conditions, health conditions, where traveling could pose a significant risk on their health. So if you are one of those people and you are a green card holder, Okay, I know a lot of people have been concerned, you know, how am I going to get back? What do I tell people, the officers in the airport? What do I need to bring with me? So this is something I did want to spend a little bit of time, because it is very important that, you know, you guys understand how this is being treated by both Customs and Border Protection at the airports here, and the U.S. embassies abroad. Now, if you are a green card holder and your green card is unexpired at this point, like it's still valid, okay, depending on how long you stayed out. Now, if you stayed out from before the COVID pandemic, let's say March of 2020 until now, okay, from what I've been hearing, and I'm talking specifically about Customs and Border Protection at JFK, in Newark, Chicago, these airports have been allowing green card holders to return to the United States after this kind of, you know, significant stay outside of the United States. So if it's been more than a year, okay, they are letting people come back to the United States. However, it's recommended that you show that there was some, unless you're an elderly person or somebody who has other conditions like medical conditions, you should provide some kind of effort that was made to schedule a plane ride, you know, things of that nature. Like you've made that effort to come back to the United States. You've maintained your residence in the United States. And there's a series of ways that you can prove that as well. But you want to show that you are still a green card holder. You still have been wanting to maintain your residence, but for the COVID pandemic, that's what kept you outside. So you really need to have the proper documentation when you're coming in. Even though they have been lenient with green card holders and have allowed people to come back, you still want to be prepared. You never want to be put in that position where you are at the airport, you're taken into secondary questioning, and then, you know, you're spending 3-4 hours asking unnecessary questions. So have the paperwork ready. It's always, you know, the best way to go about it. Now, if your green card expired while you're abroad, you are in a different position completely, okay? Now, you can take the risk of coming back with your expired green card, but again, there are factors in every person's, I am talking in very general terms, but there are factors in every person's situation that will differ in how I give advice to you. So if you have been out of the country for 3 years, you know, way before the COVID pandemic, and your green card expired, there is a whole different approach to returning back to the United States. You actually have to go to the U.S. Embassy and ask permission to return on a special visa, what they call the SB1, returning resident visa. So there's a different approach for each person. Don't just hear from your family and friends, oh, someone had a green card, they went back, they had no problems. That might not be the same situation for you, okay? So I have someone, I just noticed their question. They said, if I travel outside as a green card holder, how long can I stay out? You are required by law as a green card holder that you do not stay more than 6 months at any time, COVID or not. You're not allowed to stay more than 6 months. Now, if you stay more than a year, okay, that's very problematic. If you know you're going to be staying outside of the country for more than 6 months or even more than a year, you have to ask special permission to come back, and that's through something called a re-entry permit, okay? So there is a solution to every problem. However, if you are not getting the proper advice and you are listening to other people and their situations and just going on a whim and wishing for the best, it doesn't always work in that way. So you have to speak to my office or speak to me, you know, and tell me about your special situation so that I can address your case and be able to give you the right advice on how to come back. Okay. We spoke about the visa interview, so I'm not going to go over that again, but I don't know, and I will say that over and over again because I'll get emails galore after this video saying, when is my husband coming? When is my wife coming? I don't know. And nobody knows at this point because it has not been released from the U.S. embassies yet as to when in-person interviews are going to resume. Okay, so unfortunately, that's all that I have at this point. Now, I will go on to, lastly, before I go on to the new immigration bills that have been proposed, I do want to highlight something very important because a lot of people ask me, I applied for my brother or sister, 5 years ago, and I want to know when they're going to be eligible to come. I'm going to tell everybody that there is a visa bulletin. Okay, it's a bulletin that's posted by the Department of State. Every month they come out with an updated visa bulletin. Okay, and depending on who you're applying for, okay, and what your status is. So if you're a green card holder applying for your husband or wife, it's going to have a different processing time than a U.S. citizen who's applying for their husband or wife. Okay, so that visa bulletin breaks it down into 4, and maybe next time I'll have this bulletin prepared so you guys can see it, or I'll even put the link so that you guys can go into it. But there are 4 visa categories that you fall under. Okay, whether your child is above the age of 21 or under the age of 21, it differs. Okay, are they married or unmarried? That differs. Siblings, husbands and wives, those are a different category. Not husband, siblings, brothers or sisters, those are a different category than husband and wife. So you have to see which category you're in, and you yourself can go into the visa bulletin and look every month to see which year they're processing, so you know how much longer your family member has to come to the United States. So I will post it, and that way it'll be extremely helpful for everybody to know, where they are as far as the timeline is concerned. Okay. Okay, let's talk about, I don't even know what the time is. All right, let's talk about the 2 bills that I just read about yesterday, which was very exciting. But there are 2 immigration bills that have been presented, have passed the House, and now have to pass the Senate, which is always the more difficult portion of passing an immigration law. So the Senate will review it, and then they will determine whether this is going to become law or not. Okay. So the Dream and Promise Act. This is the first bill that they have proposed. Okay. What is the Dream and Promise Act? They are trying to create a pathway to citizenship for people who have citizenship, green card and then citizenship for Dreamers, DACA recipients, those are our Dreamers, and TPS. Okay, so from what I have read in the bill so far, okay, is that it's going to be a 3-step process. Okay, we're talking about DACA and TPS recipients. All right, this is not law yet. I'm going to reiterate that again. This is not law. This is what has been proposed as of yesterday and is going to the Senate to be reviewed. Okay, this is all I know so far. The DACA or TPS individual must have maintained status. Okay, they will then apply for the green card or legal permanent residency. Okay, and then after 2 years of college or 2 years in the Army or 3 years of employment, okay, they can apply for a hardship waiver, which is basically hardship to your U.S. citizen or green card spouse, parent, or minor child. Okay, and then if you have that hardship waiver approved, then you would get your green card approved, and then you can go on to you would wait the 5 years and then get your citizenship. So that's the 3-step process that they have for the Dreamers and TPS. It's still a proposal. It hasn't become law yet, but if it is, it's going to be. So this, DACA was created by the Obama administration. So this is kind of like it's a continuation of the legislation that was passed by the Obama administration. The other one is the Farm Workforce Modernization Act. Okay, this is specifically for undocumented farm workers, their spouses, and their children. This also gives a pathway to citizenship. You have to, in this process, there's not as much specific steps that were included, but from what I read, it was you have to become a certified agricultural worker. And if you worked for at least 180 days in like a 2-year period, then you would pay $1,000 fine, almost like a penalty, and continue doing a specific number of hours of agricultural work, and then you'd be able to apply for the green card. Again, not too many specifics that were really written out that I could provide, but you know, it's good news for, you know, if you are an agricultural worker and you've been in the United States for a significant amount of time, then this is something that you might be able to apply for if it gets passed. Okay. And going back to TPS, which I did say earlier I was going to speak about. TPS has been a very big topic recently in immigration because there has been a lot of litigation over allowing TPS recipients to be able to apply for a green card through marriage or through employment. As it is right now, people who have TPS are only given a temporary status. But if you came in through the border, as in you crossed through the border, or you have overstayed for many, many years and then applied for TPS, you are not allowed to go from TPS status to a green card, except for 3 different circuits. Okay, it's not national yet. So there has been a lot of fight to try to get immigration to pass, you know, the law that says that, you know, all TPS holders, regardless of how they came in, regardless of how long they've been here illegally, you know, all of that, then if they have a chance to apply for adjustment of status to become a green card holder, they would be able to do that. So this is under heavy litigation right now, and it's supposed to be presented to the Supreme Court in the next few months. So we're going to see how that comes out. So if you are a TPS holder right now, you should be paying close attention to the news to see how this all is going to be resolved. And we're really hoping that it's going to end in them, you know, you guys being able to apply for a green card. So that's really good, very good news that we're waiting for. There was one other thing that I forgot to mention, and this is specifically for people that have applied for asylum that are in the United States. Now, as of last year, end of 2020, or beginning of August of 2020, there was a change in the procedures of applying for work permits if you are pending asylum. And what was happening was that you had to wait, rather than waiting just 150 days out of after filing, you'd have to wait 365 days, which was a lot of time for people who are applying for asylum in the United States without work. So that is also being litigated, and they want to go back to the 150-day mark. But in the meantime, you still have to wait a year from after filing to apply for your work permit, okay? Unless you enroll in 2 organizations who are in the process of doing lawsuits. It's ASAP, ASAP, or CASA, CASA, okay? You have to enroll into the organizations, and it's an easy process. You just look them up online, you sign up for them, and once you get your confirmation that you are now part of the organization, you can then apply for your work permit at any time after you filed for your asylum. So I would suggest anybody who is pending asylum, who has filed a 589 and cannot or does not want to wait a whole year to apply for work permit, go ahead and get enrolled in ASAP, ASAP, or CASA, CASA, and go ahead and file your work permit. Okay. I could see a lot of questions, and I know a lot of people are upset that I was not doing this in Arabic, and I am sorry that it wasn't done this time, but I will do another video very soon in Arabic, so that everybody can understand what's going on. It may be tomorrow, who knows, I'll surprise you. All right. If you have a question about your specific case, okay, please do not inbox message me on Facebook. Most of the time I designate my Facebook inbox for just very general questions, not case specific. If you have a specific case that you need to discuss with me, please call my office or email my office, and all that information is on my Facebook page. Like my page, definitely like the page, because I put all of the updates on what's going on in immigration on the page. You can also follow me on Instagram. I also have been, I'll post this video, but I'll also be posting any updates on the Instagram account as well. Okay, but Facebook is probably like my first go-to when it comes to, like, you know, sharing news or, you know, posting news. I will try to get back to everybody who has a question following this video. Just give me time. And if you don't get a response from me on the inbox or on the comments, just reach out to my office. I'm sure somebody will respond to you, or send the question to me so that I can respond to you. Okay? I hope that everybody benefited from this video and got some valuable information, as I always hope is the case. I will do my best in always keeping you guys informed. I'm always grateful for everybody who is following me, always sending me nice comments, encouraging me, supporting my office. It's always, as much as I don't say it on every video, but I am extremely grateful to each and every one of you. And I'll do my best to always be able to help you guys and your family members in any immigration related matters. Okay, so I hope everybody stays safe and stays healthy, as well as your family members. If you're celebrating Ramadan, happy and holy Ramadan to you. I will be posting a video very soon. See you all guys again, and stay happy and well. I'll talk to you soon.